A lot of Suozzi heads here tonight, huh? Yeah, they're into it.
They're here for Klepper, not for Suozzi.
I didn't want to say it, but you know what? I think we share the love that is here. You got a lot on your plate, Congressman.
A lot going on.
There's a lot going on right now. I want to talk to you about, obviously, Monday is the inauguration. You wrote a big...
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
Do you have it in your calendar?
Yes.
Yeah?
I'll be there.
Yeah, you're not going to storm the Capitol before that,
No. They did that already.
Did the Democrats meet together? Yeah, did you guys meet together and discuss whether we're yay and nay on trying to stop these proceedings?
We'll be there. We can't stop it.
You can't stop the proceedings, no. Well, maybe if you worked a little harder during the election, you could have. I'm just spitballing here.
Just rub it in, Jordan. Rub it in.
Well, here, I'm curious. You wrote an op-ed a few weeks ago talking about how Democrats should move forward in this new era of Trump. Essentially, Democrats should meet Trump halfway rather than be a party of no. And for you, I'm curious, does that mean 7.5 million deportations instead of 15 million deportations? How does one meet the Republicans halfway?
Well, you've got to resist when it's appropriate. You know, like when he was the president before, I resisted when he wanted to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. You have to resist when he wants to deport the Dreamers. Now, if he wants to weaponize the DOJ, you have to resist. If he wants to get rid of the climate stuff we've done, you got to resist.
Yeah.
So there's things you have to resist on. But the people want us to work together to try and solve problems. And we've tried all the stuff of just tearing him down as much as we can, and didn't work. He won. And now people want us to work together to address the border, to address cost of living and inflation, to address the things that really happen in their lives.
I mean, people do want things to get done, right? But in 2016, it felt like the Democrats' angle was to be a party of no, to be obstructionist. And they won the midterms. There was success after that. Joe Biden was the next president. Is that a winning strategy? It felt like being obstructionist, being resisty, if not leading to electoral victory this past election, had some successes in 2016, 2018.
Well, let me just first make a prediction, okay? The Democrats are going to win in 2024. But
in 2024?
2020. What year did I say?
You said 2024.
What year are we in now?
Aren't we in 2025?
Why did you guys clap for that?
Yeah, well, maybe...
I was testing. You guys failed completely. 2026.
Yeah, let's start with math and then work towards 2026,
the math major.
I was a math major. What am I going to say? I know what is in the past and what is in the future.
Right, okay.
So you think 2026...
2026, we're going to win.
Okay.
And I think that people... Let's try that again. In 2026, we're going to win. So,
we are not editing around that, okay? This is that we are leaving that in. Our politicians are fallible. This is what we're learning here with Suozzi.
I'm human.
You're human.
So the bottom line is that people are really sick. And I talk to people all the time. I mean, that's what you do if you do a good job in elected office, is you talk to people. And people are sick and tired of everybody just fighting with each other all the time. Yeah. And in this year, let me remember the years now. In 2024, in February, I ran a special election to replace George Santos after he got kicked out. Yeah. And you guys remember George Santos, right? So,
America's greatest volleyball player.
So in that race, I talked about the need to secure the border. And a lot of experts came to me and said, Tom, what are you doing? Why are you talking about the border? That's a Republican issue. I was like, this is what the people are talking about. They want us to address the border. So we can't say we're against deporting criminals. We have to work to try and secure the border. We need to fix the broken asylum system. We need to also treat people like human beings. We need to give the Dreamers a path to legalization. We need to do something about the people you invited here 20 and 30 years ago, what are called the TPS recipients, temporary protective status. You had an earthquake, you had a flood, you had a civil war. We said, come to America where it's safe. We invited them here. Let's give them some sort of permanent status. Let's do something. Let's do something. 50% of the farm workers in the United States of America are undocumented. There have been bipartisan deals over the years to try and do border security, fix the asylum system, deal with the Dreamers, TPS, and farm workers, Afghan readjustment, healthcare workers. There have been deals, but we couldn't get enough support to get it over the finish line. Let's figure out how to build the consensus of people throughout the nation, business, badges, and the Bible, to try and say, what can we do to get people to work together to actually get these things done and make our country better?
I mean, I think trying to build consensus, sure. I mean, today you had a vote today. You voted for the Preventing Violence Against Women by Illegal Aliens Act. This is a bill that was introduced by Representative Nancy Mace.
Yeah.
Right? And you and 140 Dems voted against this, but you and 60 other Dems voted for this.
And part of it is, I actually don't think that's going to get through the Senate.
Yeah.
But I think that it's part of sending this message that, hey, we're willing to meet you halfway to try and get stuff done.
Is that message getting across? Do they
it's not going to get done. It just happened, today. I mean,
right, but you're saying this act of goodwill by the Democrats towards the Republicans, that this message will get across. That Marjorie Taylor Greene is hearing this and being
she's
like,
not going to hear it. No.
This Suozzi's a good guy.
Come on.
Yeah.
So the bottom line is the natural inclination of human beings is you take a shot at me, I'm going to give you a shot back. That's normal human behavior.
Sure.
And like the Republicans obstructed Biden every single which way. And that's natural human behavior. The problem is we're not getting stuff done to fix the problems. So it's like when Michelle Obama said, when they go low, we go high. And a lot of people give her grief for that, for saying that. But in reality, we need to try and reach our hand out and say, let's work together. Let's get some stuff done. If they swat our hands away and say, sucker, like that, then the people will see that.
But haven't they been doing that for a year?
Yes.
It's all been sucker. They're the party of this.
As your mom said, two wrongs don't make a right.
And the
reality is we have serious problems that exist in our country, and we have to figure out how can we get stuff done. At least that's why I'm in public life. That's the reason I do this job. I mean, this is an unusual lifestyle, and it's only worth it if you actually get stuff done to make people's lives better. And I think that right now, that's what the American people really want. So, we all know all the bad stuff about Donald Trump, okay? We know about, inappropriate grabbing, and we know about, January 6th, and we know about Stormy Daniels, and we know about selling Bibles, and we know about all the different,
Sure.
And he won.
Yeah.
And so now he's the president of the United States of America come Monday. So we have got to figure out how do we resist when essential, but how do we try to work together to get stuff done when we can?
I think that is a fine line that people are asking. I know there are people who are more progressive who see this and fear that we're sleepwalking towards autocracy. That suddenly this resist energy is gone, and that if suddenly we normalize this or don't bring it up enough, then we've sort of lost the plot and the goalposts get moved yet another field over. Do you worry about that? Or
I do worry about it. I'm like every other human being. When you give it to me, I'm going to want to give it back to you. But the reality is we've got to get stuff done to make our country better. We're facing serious threats from China. We're facing serious threats all over the world, quite frankly. We're facing threats here in America, and people want their lives. We've lost our middle class in our country. The minimum wage is still $7.25 an hour in 20 states in the United States of America. People are pissed off. They lost their jobs. They don't have their health insurance. They don't have pensions anymore. They're not making enough money. They go to work every day. If you make $10 an hour and you work 40 hours a week and you work 50 weeks a year, math major, that's $20,000 a year. Okay?
Yeah.
If you make $15 an hour, you work 40 hours a week, you work 50 weeks a year, that's $30,000 a year. Now,
is that right? Did that all work out?
Yes.
I mean, about 7 minutes ago, you thought the year was 2020. I'll check that.
The bottom line is everybody in America, whether you're a progressive or a conservative or anybody in between, everybody in America should believe that if I work hard, in return for working hard, I make enough money so I can live a decent life. I can get a house, I can have health insurance, I can educate my children, and I can retire one day without being scared. The problem is that's not happening in our country for too many people. That's why everybody's so pissed off, and that's why Trump found an opening, because he says, I hear you. I realize how bad things are for you. Now, he's not going to do anything about it. Yeah. He doesn't support increasing the minimum wage. He doesn't support what's called the PRO Act to try and have more unions in the United States of America. Child tax credit. We've got to do things. Democrats have to make it clear to people, we're the party for working people. If you work hard, we want you to have a decent life so you can live the American dream. That's what what the Democrats should be talking about to the American people, not all this other stuff about somebody's personality or what's wrong with them. Talk about issues that will make their lives better.
But even well, you could. But how do you? I hear you. I feel like You go out here and the American public, when I go and talk to people out in America, yes, they talk about the pocketbook. They care about money, they care about buying houses. But the Republicans are also dictating these conversations. And I know sometimes from a political standpoint, you're getting pulled in these culture wars. But the Democrats aren't necessarily bringing those culture wars up. And they want to stand up for, here's what I'm curious about. You've been faced with very real bills to pass and what to support, where to throw your name behind. You just voted for stronger regulations at the border. But there was recently, like a week ago, what was it? The national ban on transgender girls and women's sports. You voted against that ban. How do you walk this line here?
It's not easy. It's very tough. But the bottom line is that Donald Trump and the Republicans have been master pickpockets. So what do pickpockets do? They work in teams. One person comes up to you and they bump into you. And when you're jostled, and because you get bumped into, the other person picks your pocket. So they use issues like transgender. They spent $200 million on transgender commercials, and the Democrats never responded. While the people are all excited, we got to worry about protecting Social Security and protecting Medicare. So we can't let ourselves be distracted by even the border, to some extent, was an effort to get people all pumped up while they were doing other stuff. And the best example is Trump just came out a week ago and he said Panama Canal, Greenland, and changed the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Okay, what happened to reducing the price of eggs and gasoline that you said is so easy to do? What happened to ending the Ukrainian war in one day? So he's a master of distraction. And so I recognize that, and I think that the people need to recognize that we can't allow ourselves to be distracted by some of these issues. Now, the Republicans have done a better job, okay? We've got people that are far left on our side. They've got people that are far way right over there. Like you said before, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, Matt Gaetz. They did a better job weaponizing our left to say how the Democrats are like that. We didn't do a very effective job saying the Republicans are like that. So you've got to try and navigate this. So,
like what? I feel like people know who Matt Gaetz is. They don't care. And half the people care, but the other half don't seem to care.
The whole Republican Party didn't get painted with Matt Gaetz. And so for example, in my race, okay, Donald Trump won my district by 19,000 votes. Joe Biden had won back in, I gotta get my dates right, back in 2020.
Sure.
Okay, he won by 11 points, okay? Trump just won my district by 5 points. That's a 16-point swing. For me to win by 11,000 votes, considering that not everybody who votes for president necessarily votes for the Congress member, for me to win by 11,000 votes, I had to get 20,000 people that voted for Donald Trump to actually vote for me. Now, that's not an easy thing to do. But because people know me, and because they know that I'm going to fight for them, not just for the party, I'm going to fight for the people. And I talked about issues like the border. I got endorsed by the Nassau County PBA. A Democrat hasn't been endorsed by the Nassau, including me, hasn't been endorsed by the Nassau County PBA for a long time. So you've got to be able to talk to the people about the issues they're concerned about and not let yourself be painted with this brush when they try to distract people.
Now, you're watching these confirmation hearings?
I haven't really been watching them that much, but a little bit.
You don't have the time to, what do you do? What's your job?
Well, they're doing their hearings. I'm doing a Ways and Means hearing about the budget.
I'm just saying, check in, maybe?
No. Yes, okay. But I don't sit there and watch 3-hour hearing about what's going on. But
yeah. Who's it for? Me? I gotta watch these things. Tom, watch these hearings.
But I don't vote. I don't vote on the confirmation.
You don't vote on any confirmation?
That's only the Senate does that.
But did you
I follow it. Yes, I follow it.
Is there anybody who worries you the most?
Yes.
Ooh, do you have somebody in mind? Ooh, who keeps you up at night?
I'm concerned about some of the national security issues that the people that are going there that don't have the proper, like when Hegseth was being grilled the other day, I was concerned that a lot of the focus was on his personal problems, which obviously there are personal problems that he has. Yeah. But I wish they had focused more on the fact that he's never really managed more than 200 people. And there are 3 million people that work for the Pentagon. It's the most lethal weaponry force in the history of the world. And it's really something we rely on so much. And I wish they had talked more about his management skills versus his personal problems.
And I don't want to shit talk your fellow Democrats there, but I know that is a critique right now. David Brooks had an article about that looked at this hearing, and everybody's going for the viral moments. And Hegseth definitely has some holes in his background, some character flaws that they're piecing apart. But should they have aggressively gone after perhaps some of those holes in experience and or knowledge with the organization he's going to run?
Yeah, I think they should have. I mean, this is kind of like what I was saying before about Trump. You know, we know about all of his issues, okay? And we just focused on that over and over again when we should have been talking about, no, we have a better plan to rebuild the middle class in the United States of America. Joe Biden always said, we want to build from the bottom up and the middle out. Now, people don't really know what that means. That means we need to create more jobs in America. When you go to work every day, you make enough money so you have a good life. We need to focus, Democrats need to be getting back to that basic, simple message of what happened in our country when we lost our manufacturing base, when we saw globalization, when Milton Friedman wrote a paper that said, don't worry about the employees, don't worry about the community you're in, only worry about the shareholders. And that's what we did, starting in the 1980s. We only worried about the shareholders. It worked. We made a lot of money. The problem is the Dow Jones went up 2,500%, the GDP went up 1,500%, but workers' wages went up only 30%. We've got to get back to the basic messages that affect people's lives. And how much money you make and what your health insurance and pension plan is the most basic thing for so many people in our country. And if we can get back to those basic messages, the Democrats will win over and over and over again. We can't let ourselves be distracted.
Hear, hear. You're taking the seat once held by George Santos. Do you follow his career closely and ever think that after you get out of doing your time here and when you're finished with your term at 2062 or I don't know, do you ever wish that you could kind of follow his trajectory and get on Cameo?
No. I've had a history in politics of winning and losing, and everybody I get involved with ends up getting in trouble. So don't mess with me. You can run against me, but if you beat me, your life's over after that. So
Lovely. Well, with that, Congressman Tom Suozzi, everyone.